Welcome to the Emerald Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy Doyle, and on this podcast I speak to different Irish athletes about their highs, their lows, biggest battles, biggest successes, and why they fell in love with their sport. In this episode I chat to legendary Irish boxer Jim O'Sullivan. We chat about Jim winning 10 national titles, meeting Muhammad Ali, and so much more. This is an episode not to be missed. Without further ado, Jim O'Sullivan. Jim, how are you? You're very welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks very much, Christopher. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have a fellow Wexford man on.
Yeah. Oh, out and out Wexford. It's the purple and gold, huh? You can't beat it.
Well, I hope I had Billy Walsh on there at one stage as well, and he couldn't wait to get. I was waiting for him to call me a scholar, and he never did. So I might get the same treatment for yourself. I don't know.
Well, I'm a scholar, so I can't call you a scholar, can I? Really?
Yeah, I know.
No.
I know you're living elsewhere now, but once a scholar, always a scholar.
Always a scholar. I'll never be a Wexford town person. Never ever. I'm very proud of my roots. Yeah, absolutely. St. Aidan's Villas, Patrick Street. I was born in number 3 Patrick Street, would you believe?
Oh, go away, yeah.
Yeah, so Patrick Street for a couple of years and then down to St. Aidan's Villas.
Deadly, in the Villas. And tell me, just when you started off boxing then, because in the Villas in town, what was that like, Jim, or how did you get involved in boxing? How did it all come about?
Well, Christopher, yeah, my brother Thomas, better known as Gilbert, and my brother John, they boxed. They were in the boxing club and they liked it, and sure, I played all sorts of sports. I love sport. I played every sort of sport at a high level. Boxing. I took up boxing when I was about 10, and we had a couple of pairs of gloves at home. Really soft ones, and my brother and I used to mess around. My brother Gilbert and I used to mess around, and used to. Well, I used to get most of the hits that time. I didn't hit much, but I used to get most of the hits. But I got to like it, and I went down with my brother several times down to that club. And Bernard Dunne, the best coach that ever walked into a ring or into a room, Bernard was the coach that time, and you had to be 11 to join. You couldn't join unless you were 11 years of age. So I used to cry and everything when they'd be going down to train. I'd say, "Can I go down with you?" And no. And then I remember I used to go down and I used to sit on the windowsill outside. Outside in the boys' club was a little band room that we had the club in, and I used to sit on the windowsill looking in. And because I was distracting the boxers, John McCarthy, who was another sterling man in the club, John used to come out and say, "You can't do there. You may go home now. You can't stand looking because you're taking their attention, and so they're not doing what they should be doing. They're looking at you." So I'd get really upset and I'd go home. But anyway, to make a long story really short, I joined on the 5th. You had to be 11. So on the 16th of October, I was 11. So I joined St. Patrick's Boxing Club on the 15th of October, 1970. The day before my 11th birthday. So I was so happy. I'm not joking. I was so happy to just join it. And then, it was a great time and for me, I was delighted. I was going down with my brothers then and, going down to train. And there's nothing better than boxing for everything. I'd advise any youngster that's starting off in life and in sport in particular, do a year in boxing. And it would really, really give you, your discipline would be so much better. And, it just gives you those things. It gives you the manners to, you just control yourself so much, So, I'd always advise youngsters to maybe do 1 year in boxing. And, it's just amazing what it does for people. I've never seen any, I won't say I've never, but I've rarely seen any boxers ever fighting on a street or ever fighting on a football for hurling pitch. That's rare, It does happen, but it's very rare. But so I started boxing on the 11th of October 1970, or the 15th of October 1970, and my last contest was on the 12th of March 1990. So I was boxing for over 20 years, and yeah, sorry, I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and when you, like, I was very lucky. I just happened to, win some good contests, and as then trained harder and got squad training with the Irish team and stuff like that, which is all good, which brought me on in leaps and bounds. So, and I stuck at it, and I stuck at it, even though I was playing hurling and football and all these other games as well. I loved all sorts of sports, Christopher. I just loved it all, and I did as much as I can. And yeah, we won all the coming up in the hurling and all that. We won everything that we played in. We won under 12, we won under 14s, we won the juveniles, we won the minors, we won intermediate, we won senior. So all through, I played all those sports as well. Loved it, and it's much easier to train for hurling and football as it is for boxing. You just have to train so hard for boxing. It's just the sport that's in it. You just have to train so hard for it. You have to keep watching your weight as well, which
Tough as well.
which wasn't great around Christmas, because Christmas is a time of year that you eat stuff that you normally don't eat. Christmas cake and Christmas puddings, for instance. And as Christmas time is the most busy time for senior boxers, so. And for either, so you'd have to be watching yourself. Championships will be coming up shortly after Christmas, So yeah, but they were. Look, I have to say, Christopher, it's really it broadened my mind so much, and I met so many unbelievably nice people that I met them when I started boxing, and I'm still friendly with these people today. And these are in different parts of Ireland as well, and different parts of the world even, for that matter. So, and that all came through sport, and in particular boxing. Yeah, it was amazing, the friends you make, and even people that you would have boxed. Like, here's one for you. The great George O'Connor, the hurler, for Wexford. George and I boxed George years and years and years ago, and George was really good at everything, So I boxed George years ago, and we're still friends to this day. And we played hurling against each other and football against each other, and I meet him a couple of times a week. We'd have a coffee or something like that. But that's the sort of friendship you meet in sport in general. That's the sort of friendship you make. Yeah, sure. Look, great memories, fabulous memories. So I have.
You heard you kicked football and you boxed as well, and now you're having coffee together. Isn't it great?
We did everything that, Christopher. You did everything that time. You were just a chap, and you were out and you were looking for stuff to do to burn up energy and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And during those times, we we had great people looking after us as well. You'd have to mention them. I had the best trainer ever for my boxing trainer. There was never a better boxing trainer, in my opinion, than Bernard Dunne. He was the most cleverest man and nicest man that you could ever meet, and it was him that brought me to where I was and got me, himself, and John McCarthy. I have to mention John as well. He was really, really so much behind me, and support was fantastic. And Bernard was just brilliant man in the corner. Best I ever had in my corner, anyway.
Was it the advice he'd give you, or what made him great? I know you said he was clever, Jim.
Yeah, you see, Christopher, he's very clever. He could read the game. He could read the boxing. He could read it. And you see, Bernard was a qualified judge himself, so he could read it, and he'd know, how you were doing, and he'd know, you move this way because you're getting caught when you move that way, So, like, you don't realise it because you're in the ring, but this is where the man in the corner comes in. He sees everything that's happening. So Bernard was like that, and he picked up on everything. So he'd tell you that. But I just want to say one thing about Bernard. Bernard, when you're coming out for the last round, you could be after winning the 2 first rounds easy as anything, and you're coming out for the last round. Bernard would say, "Now, to make sure of this, you need to win this round." So what he was saying is, don't take your foot off the pedal. You have to keep going. He was so good. So I said to Bernard many years, I said, something, I was never ahead going into the last round, in your opinion. He was just brilliant. Oh, look.
And you're so focused, you can only you can only listen and think, "Oh, I really need to win this," you know.
Yeah, yeah, and honest to God, Christopher, it was just amazing. Oh, what an absolute individual he was. Oh, the best, yeah,
And that local club
yeah.
at home, Jim, what was that like? Was there a great crack among you? And I know you said the training was really tough and stuff like that. Was it?
Christopher, there was great camaraderie, great camaraderie with all the people that was in it. And, I've been there for most of the people that came and went. And, you'd always have, when you had the break during the summer, you'd have loads of people joining it in October. That's the time most people joined it. So most young lads would be down and they'd be joining and they'd spend maybe they'd like it for 2 or 3 weeks and then it just fade away and you'd be back to the normal people that would always stay there, So people tried it out, but it was brilliant that people tried it out, And there were some boxers that were unbelievably brilliant boxers, much better than me, and they tried it out and they just didn't bother, They kind of walked away from it, That's you have people like that, But I had really good people looking after me, and I your sparring is such an important part of your development. And I had probably one of the best boxers to come out of Enniscorthy as my sparring partner. He was very clever, and he was Gussie Farrell. Gus Farrell is from Belfield Road as well, and Gussie was an unbelievable boxer. And so Bernard just put me in with Gussie, and Gussie was he was a couple of years in boxing before me, so he's much better than me. And I used to hate getting into the ring with Gussie. It was a thing that I hated. I didn't look forward to training because I knew I was going to be getting into the ring with Gussie, and he's much better than me. And there's a few nights that I got a bit annoyed, and I'd take off my gloves and I'd just get out of the ring and I'd say, I'm not coming down here anymore. I just, yeah, I'd say it, honest to God, I'd just say, no, I'm not, and I'd be crying because I'm just frustrated because I couldn't hit Gussie and he was able to hit me. He was just too clever. But Bernard kept putting me into the ring and kept putting me in with Gussie. And you know something? Like, this is how clever Bernard was. Bernard put you in because Gussie was doing major things for my boxing. He was bringing me on in leaps and bounds because he was showing me what to do, beknownst to himself. So eventually, I was the hunter, not the hunted. I was able to keep him at bay all the time and get the punches in on him because it was because of him sparring me that I got to that level. And Bernard's it's his intelligence that got me in there to keep me there. So it was just, yeah. Yeah, so I didn't mind going down to train. I didn't care if Gussie was down there. If 10 Gussie Farrells were down there, I'd go down and I knew I was able to hold my own. You know what I mean? So all sort of things, Christopher. Yeah. Oh, look, it was, magic.
When you say it, Jim, as well, it's like unbelievable that you had such a good trainer, but then to have someone who was better than you on yours against you as well, like it seemed like nearly a perfect environment for you to actually get better and reach your potential almost.
Absolutely, Christopher. It was you couldn't write that. You couldn't write that. It was just something, and it just happened, And I was just so lucky. And Gussie was such a lovely. Gussie went on. He won two senior elite championships himself at bantamweight and featherweight, and he boxed for Ireland, represented Ireland all over the world. Such an absolute lovely person as well, and he was actually the coach on in Atlanta, at the Olympics in Atlanta for Ireland. He was the coach. So Gussie was very clever. And we all got this from Bernard Dunne. Bernard Dunne taught us everything we know. Well, he taught me everything. And I'm sure Gussie would have the same opinion, So, yeah. So he has, and he's still heavily involved in boxing. And I do speak to him occasionally, But we have great memories, Christopher.
Yeah.
So we have.
And when I always hear about the stories, Jim, it always seems like the start off for people is so special, and I suppose it's no different in your case. And then moving on, Jim, just to, as I really want to highlight this as well, 10 national titles. You have 11 with Kenny Egan, if I've done my research right, just to make sure. That is amazing. The feeling of knowing that for yourself, you must take great pride from it, and.
Well, Lucas, yeah, I do. I do take serious pride for it. I was the first one to win 10 senior championships. I'm very proud of that. That's down to my trainer, and the people around me at the time. But yeah, when you win one, I remember I won my first one, and the first one was very precious to me. I beat Brian Byrne, who was the captain of the Olympic team in 1976. I beat Brian Byrne, and he was going for his sixth title that time, and he was the favourite to win. So, but I had different thoughts in my head. I knew I had the handle of him. But my first senior championship was on the 7th of March 1980, and I was boxing Brian Byrne, and my dad was in a wheelchair for 8 or 9 years, the last 8 or 9 years of his life. So Dad didn't come up to see me, but the rest of the families did, and people from Enniscorthy came up. But I remember that when I got into box Brian Byrne, that I really was up against it, and Dad just couldn't watch it even on the television. That time they were televised and stuff, but he couldn't watch it. But anyway, because he just wasn't able, he would just, he'd faint or something like that. He just wasn't able. But so Dad was at home, and some of the rest of the lads was home with him. But I got in on the 7th of March 1980. I boxed Brian Byrne. I was in really good shape. I was after being on the international teams, and Brian Byrne had been on those teams with me as well. There used to be two certain, to bring two weight divisions, two people, two light middleweights. Brian Byrne was light middleweight. I was a light middleweight. He was number one. I was number two. When you're going for the internationals, they might double up on one weight. So I was second to Brian Byrne always until I beat him. So 1980, on the 7th of March. Yeah, and I think of that every year because my sister's son was born on the 7th of March as well, 1980. And I had stayed in her house the night before, and this fairy tale sort of stuff, Yeah. So the first is always very precious, And I remember being brought out. We went down to Belfield on a Saturday night when we came home. Big reception there, and Mum and Dad and all the family were there, and and all the people, the other sportly friends were all there, and half of Enniscorthy, or 3/4 of Enniscorthy filled the stadium on the 7th of March. I remember it so well, and it was nearly all Enniscorthy's up there for my last contest as well. It's amazing. It's just, the memories are just amazing. Just amazing, Christopher.
Unreal. And as you say, the first is really special, and the baby being born as well. Like, that's just, as you say, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And how were you feeling? Did you say you were feeling confident going in, Jim? Did you just had a feeling that even though you were number two in the race, you just thought, I have it in me to get over the line here?
Yeah, I knew I could beat him. I knew I had to beat him. In fairness to Brian Byrne, very good champion. He was going for his 6th title at the time, so he'd been around a while. But I knew I had what it takes to, I had done the work. I had got the right, I was told the right things from my man in the corner, which is Bernard. So I knew, and Bernard knew too, that I could beat him. And I'm a southpaw, so it's very awkward for people to box southpaws. And so everything worked right for me that night. I'll never forget it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. To be a senior champion and representing your country then for the rest of the year. So yeah, and then travelling then was another big thing. You're travelling all over the place when you're a senior champion. Whatever, the senior champions could travel with the Irish team wherever they're going. And likewise, if there was people coming in, teams coming in, obviously you're on the team for the year once you win the championship, which was always good, Christopher. You'd be going different parts of the world, and sure, it broadened your mind, and it's amazing. I wouldn't have got to some of these places if I hadn't gone from happened from my boxing years. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. No, there's people now booking flights going, and you got to the top and you got to go all around the world.
Yeah, sure, it was magic. It was fantastic, Christopher. It was fairy tale stuff, fairy tale stuff. And meeting Muhammad Ali was probably the highlight, I suppose. And
what was he like, Jim? Yeah. What was he like?
Oh, Christopher, he was just amazing. We spent nearly 3 weeks with Muhammad Ali in 1978. We went out. I'll never forget it. It's the highlight of my boxing career by a million miles. Muhammad Ali was in heavy training at that time in Deer Lake. We went out. We boxed we boxed the American squad, and we boxed the Muhammad Ali Amateur Boxing Club. He had a club called after him, and they boxed us as well. But I just want to tell you how I met him. I have relations in America, and when we got to New York, we were picked up by Muhammad Ali people. Would you believe? A person by the name of Boudini Brown, who's always in Muhammad Ali's corner. He's in Muhammad Ali's corner always. And a person by the name of Jimmy Ellis, Jimmy Ellis was a former world heavyweight champion himself. Muhammad Ali beat him to win the world title. Jimmy Ellis and Muhammad Ali are from the same town, Kentucky. So they were very friendly. So Jimmy Ellis was with Ali at this time. So they picked us up from New York, from JFK, and there was 8 boxers. So there was 2 big cars, and I was in one of the cars. And at that time in America, there was 3 people could sit in the front of the cars, these big cars. So Boudini Brown was driving, Jimmy Ellis was at the window, and I was in the middle of those 2 fellas in the front. I was with Jimmy Ellis and Boudini Brown, and here we were going through New York, and I looking out at the Statue of Liberty, looking at the Twin Towers. These are things I've seen on television, had never seen them in my life. And here's I am sitting in the front seat with Jimmy Ellis and Boudini Brown. It's a fairy tale thing. And you know what song was being played on the radio when I going through New York? Baker Street. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street. Every time I hear that, it brings me straight back to New York. It's they brought us down to anyway. We went down to. They brought us to Dare Lake. We stayed in a motel under Dare Lake, which is Muhammad Ali's training camp. So we stayed in a motel there, and the next morning, Muhammad Ali's PRO was around, and wait till you hear this. Muhammad Ali's PRO, his name was Tom Kenville, and I got talking to Tom. And we got into a deep conversation. And it turned out that Tom Kenville knew my relations in New York, right? So he was able to put me in touch with my relations in New York. And he used to bring one of their sons to the Madison Square Garden fights. This is how, and this was Muhammad Ali's PRO. So he was very friendly, really good friends, best friends nearly, with my relations. So I had a little bit of, he said to me then, he said, look, he says, we were talking about Muhammad, and we got talking about Muhammad, and he said, well, the champ is away until tomorrow. He's back tomorrow. So he said, we'll organise, I'll be up here to collect you, not tomorrow, the day after, and bring you to see Muhammad, bring you to see the champ. They always call him the champ. So, I tell you this, Christopher. So Tom Campbell, 2 days' time anyway, Tom picked me up in the motel, straight up into the Cotswolds, up into Dare Lake, up into the mountain, pulled me in. Really hot day. It was mid-morning, about 10:30, really hot. And he pulled up anyway, and Ali's car was there. Ali 78, big gold-coloured car, huge car. So that was parked outside. And he said, come on now. And you see, there was all these fishnet doors, all stuff on the doors to stop the mosquitoes getting in because it was so warm. So over he went anyway, opened the door, right? Tom Campbell did. Opened the door. Here was Ali sitting at the table. And Tom Campbell, these are the words he said to him, because I never ever will forget it. He said, champ, talking to Ali, he says, I have someone here from Ireland to meet you, So Ali stood up anyway, and out the hand, shook hands with me. He was drinking a mug of coffee, shook hands with me, and welcomed me. His wife was there at the time. That was Veronica, I think, and his 2 twins. They were there, only a little bit, small, just barely running around. And wow, he sat beside him, and he asked me a few questions, and he asked me did I want tea or coffee or anything like that. He said I'll just have water. I remember it so well because I wouldn't want to drink tea or coffee talking to Muhammad Ali. I was just blown away. I sat down and I got a few photographs taken of him, and he had no problem with that. So we were with him for about 45 minutes, that morning, and he asked me loads of questions. I asked him loads of questions, and we were allowed to use his gym when he wasn't using it. We were allowed to use his gym to train in,
All right.
which was fantastic. And we used to watch him training as well. Larry Holmes was one of his sparring partners that time. I remember watching Larry Holmes sparring Muhammad Ali, and Trevor Berbick was another one of his, and he boxed all these then down the years afterwards. But so I met Ali, and he's such an absolute lovely. I have the photograph still, would you believe? Lovely, lovely man. And he came down to our motel that night, and we had a room to ourselves with Muhammad Ali and his wife, Veronica, and we had the best laugh. I have some fabulous photographs. The things all look. So, yeah, and we were allowed to use his gym, and I used to go up and watch him training. We met him a few times, and we actually, it was big, it's amazing. Like in America, we were in this big, huge shopping centre, and Muhammad Ali was in it with his wife and the twins, and people just walked by Muhammad because they'd see him all the time. They're so used to seeing him, and we'd say, "There's Ali again. There's Ali again. There's the champ. There's a champ." Like we just couldn't see enough of him. You know what I mean? Like, and these people, like, we were thinking, "Wow, look," and people are not coming over because they probably have to been over so many times talking to him. But yeah, it was just amazing. It was just amazing, and we boxed. We boxed the American team, and then we boxed the Muhammad Ali team in Yankee Stadium. And Muhammad Ali presented the medals to us in Yankee Stadium. It was called the Muhammad Ali Boxing Show. And I have a medal up there on the wall. It's in the shape of an eagle. And Muhammad Ali presented that to me, and I have it there beside a couple of photographs. So I have.
These are incredible, Jim.
Yeah, which are up there.
Oh, that's unreal. And there's himself.
There's himself, and there's the medal beside him if I could get it to it.
Oh, I can see
the medal is there. So imagine that, Christopher. And he said to me with that medal. That medal is monetary wise, it's worth about nothing, But
the value of that, Jim, for yourself.
So Muhammad Ali, we had the best. And now I just finish off the Muhammad Ali thing now because we had a fantastic time with Ali, and he was such an absolute gentleman. The day we were coming back on a Saturday, and Ali was training. So not many people would have known this, but we went up to the camp anyway, and we went in, and Ali was he was done, he's finished, and he was training, so he had gone in for a shower. So we were in his dressing room, and Ali walks out of the shower anyway. Not many people would have seen Ali in his skin, but we did. Yeah, we did. Oh. Ali walks out with just, So I mean, you could count them on hand, I suppose. But anyway, so like, honest to God, you couldn't write it. But yeah, and I remember that so well. And he shook hands with put the towel around, shook hands with every one of us, and we wished him the best of luck because he was boxing Spinks to regain the title for the third time and be the only man to do it, and he did it. And yeah, sure. Look, I remember flying back home that day and coming back home, and I had a little Kodak camera with a little flashes on the top of it, 4 flashes. Every flash is a photo gone, and I was just hoping that the photos would come out. And when we came home, and I brought them down to Enniscorthy down in Market Square, and they came out perfectly. Thank God. So I had people coming to the house, knocking the door. Can we have a look at the Muhammad Ali photos, please, James? I said, yeah, I was so proud. And my poor mum and dad, my poor dad was so proud as well. People looking at Muhammad Ali and me, like it couldn't be further away from, your reality. It's just something that you never thought would happen. And here's my father, like, used to get up in the middle of the night to listen to the wireless, to listen to Muhammad Ali boxing. That was, because of the time difference, obviously, in America, and he used to be up in the middle of the night, turning on a wireless, trying to get a station on it to listen to Muhammad Ali's fight. And here I am now taking photographs home with Muhammad Ali on it. Like, it was, it's fairy tale stuff, Christopher. And I was so proud of that for to be able to bring them home and to say I've met Muhammad Ali. It's just yeah, highlight by a million miles. I've met Henry Cooper. I've met George. I've met all these fellas, all these world champions. Floyd Patterson, lovely man. Met him in Atlantic City. Uh, uh, really nice people. Henry Cooper presented me with one of my first internationals against England. Henry Cooper, another absolute gentleman who nearly knocked out Muhammad Ali, but didn't. But memories like that are just fantastic. But Muhammad Ali would be up there with the best of my memories of boxing. And winning.
And Jim, I tell you, I don't even know where to start. From the first class service, it was like getting first class service in the car. Jerry Rafferty's playing, going to the house, meeting Muhammad Ali, then getting to use his gym, the photographs, the medal. I don't even know. It's just like everything. It's like a dream you'd have.
Christopher, you're hitting the nail on the head. You're hitting the nail on the head. That's exactly That's exactly what it was. That's exactly. It's just like you couldn't write it. You just could not do it. It was I still think about those times, and it's only like yesterday. This is over 40 years ago, and it's only like yesterday. It's in my mind like it's only happened yesterday. That's how clear it is to me. There's things that happened last week that I can't remember, but this happened 40 odd years ago, and I can remember it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so engraved in my mind, and I can remember it so well, and like the fun we had, and like, boxing is an amazing sport. It's an amazing sport. Like, I've seen most of the world from boxing, and it's from boxing only. So, I'm so grateful for that had me health and all to do that, and to play my football and my hurling and soccer and stuff like that. I'm just so grateful for that, and to have people like Bernard Dunne looking after me. See, just those things, it's rare, but I'm very happy and very lucky, and the people I grew up with as well,
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. Oh, I'd say when you're right back in Ireland, Jim, I'd say you were pinching yourself to see, am I actually alive? This happening?
It's unbelievable, Christopher. It's unbelievable. It's just when you look at the photograph, you think, look, did that really happen? Like, I'm looking at the photographs there on the wall, and I'm thinking, there's Ali, and he's punching me on the chin. And there am I punching him on the chin, and I'm wondering, did he feel the one I hit him with, or did I feel the one he hit me with? But just to look at it up there and just think, wow, and that brings me right back to that moment, if you understand me, right back to that moment, just so it does. These things there, they're my medals. The 10 medals, they're just there with me.
Unbelievable.
Do you see them?
Incredible.
So I just got them up because I had them in a drawer, and I said, look, we're only going to lose them. They're worth nothing. They're not worth any money. There's no point in anyone taking them because they're worth. But what they're worth to me is my life. So yeah, so we got them framed the other 2-3 years ago, so we wouldn't lose them.
The personal value of it to you, you work so hard to get it, you won it, you achieved it. It's incredible,
Yeah, it is. And I remember, and your dad would remember this too. I remember when I went back into school. We were in school, in primary school. I think I was 12. Yeah, it must have been primary, just before we went into secondary, and it was photographed me in the Echo paper when I won the 6 stone All Ireland Championship. Right, I was 6 stone, and so there was a photograph taken of me with my plaque, and this is put on. Someone brought it into the class, and stuck it up on the board, on the place for the stick stuff, on the board, and the black, and here that's this stuck up on the blackboard. Jim O'Sullivan, 6 stone schoolboy champ. And something, I'm not joking, you're cotton you. I'm going to show you this. This is the photograph now, and I'm going to show you this photograph, right? This is the photograph that.
Bring it over. Oh, yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
Look, that's the photograph. I'm not joking. That was hanging on the wall. So it was, and I was so proud the teacher and all was over talking to me, and oh, that's a lovely. Oh, sure, everyone come into the room, they were praising you. Sure, look, I was as tall, I was about 5'2" at the time, but I was about 6'8", if you know what I mean. Yeah, so look, I have to say that I've had the best times of my life in boxing. I'm so lucky. I've represented my country so many times, all over the world, and to meet lovely people,
On your journey.
On the journey, and like growing up is a huge thing, people you grow up with it's amazing, like, you never forget these people, the people you went to school with, you never forget these people, I look at some photographs and I think, my God, and then I look some of the people that we've gone to school with have gone to the other world now as well. So, we'd understand that, but we had the best times, really. Harmless fun. Do you know what I mean, Christopher?
Yeah, I know. Just I'm sure there are always going to be memories for you, growing up and whatever. And even as an adult, everyone will talk about it. But even I can see your face in reaction to your still the story of bringing in the picture. The 6 stone winner or whatever. That's just as good. It's just as good as a memory.
Honest to God, it's unbelievable, and sure, and people that I used to love, foot of a Friday night, normally Friday night is the night that the finals are on, and and then a Saturday it'd be on television. If they're not on a Friday night, it'd be on a Saturday, and then you'd be going downtown and people would be saying, "Oh, you look great on the television. You look great on the television." I'd just be so proud, You'd just be so proud.
Not everybody can do it, Jim.
No, look, it's everyone can do it if they put their mind down to it. But I know what you mean. Look, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into all of that sort of stuff. I have to say, boxing is an amazing sport. I'd advise any youngster to take up boxing for a year, just to give them, as I said, the discipline and stuff like that, and for me, it was my number one sport. I don't think I could ever, even if I had me life to live over again, I think I'd do the same thing, So look, happy days. It's something, and it's lovely to have something like winning 10 championships. It's nice to have that because you're unique in a way. You're the first man to do something like that. So I'm very proud of that. That I did that.
And Jim, tell me, how did you come back each year? Because obviously you showed me the 10 medals, but to come back each year and win, what was that like? Or was there a time where you thought, everyone's out to get me, or they're going to be saying you're the champ now, I want to take it off you? What was that like?
Christopher, every year it was always a chore for me to go back. Because you're going back and you're going to give your body hardship. You're going to be training every day, and sometimes twice and 3 times a day. Depends on how your weight and all this. Going back then, and then the opponents, like I box people from England in All Ireland finals. I box people from America in All Ireland finals. People come in with ancestors, to have Irish blood in them. So, which is fine. It's grand. But every year, like the first year coming, you say, yes, sure, next year now, please God, and then it just keeps coming, and time of the year comes, and people are saying, are you going into the elites? Yeah, I think I will. So the elites be the elite championships. So it was always a chore. There's not, I have to say, nothing easy about it. There's nothing easy about it. You have to, if you're going to be a boxer or any sort of a sports person, you're going to have to put in the work. And it's not going to be always easy. And I found that as well. No matter how good, and no matter how many championships you win, there's always someone there that's going to beat you. So you have to keep on the toes always. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. There's always someone better than you. Always. So, and the people, the people were out to get me, after winning 4 and 5 championships. They were saying, look, if we want to, they definitely didn't want me to win 10. I know there's people in the IABA that didn't want me to win 10. They wanted to keep it up with the dubs. The people who had won 9. So 9 was the limit that time, and then I got it to 10. but they didn't want me to get it at 10. They wanted the people that had that 9. They wanted to keep them. Then Kennedy can come along and he got 10. That's grand. No problem. I'd have no problem with that. I think that's only progress. But I look at.
And what reason, Jim, would they want to keep it at 9? What would they get from it?
They wouldn't want a culture like fella from Wexford coming up and winning 10 championships and taking it away from a Dublin boxer. The Dubs. The Dubs are. See, they would think that the Dubs would be the premier of the Irish boxing, where it's not. Where it's not. Like we have unbelievably good boxers. That we win. We. I think we rarely don't come away from the National Stadium with at least one senior title every year. So I don't think we rarely do that. We always have a title, at least one title. So look at boxing is a strange sport when it comes to but the friends I have. I mean, I have lifelong friends from the time I was 14 in Drogheda, my friends in Drogheda, my friends all over Ireland. Just salt of the earth. Paulstown Boxing Club, one of the best boxing clubs that I was ever in. Nicest people, lovely people, and really, really hard workers there. And one of my best boxing friends passed away, and he's from Paulstown. Ollie O'Neill. Ollie was, he was Mr. Boxer himself. He was just all about boxing, and his son Darren. Boxed in the Olympics there in London, and he was European champion. He was brilliant, and I was delighted for that. For Ollie, that his son, went and done all these things for him and made him very proud. So, you just make fantastic memories and fantastic friends and things that you'll always have, Christopher. Always. When I go to the National Stadium now, I could be talking all night to different people. And it's so lovely. And they'd be talking about old time. They'd be saying, do you remember that night? Do you remember the night we did this? Do you remember the night we did that? Then I remember the night we boxed the Americans here. And, it was just, it's lovely.
It's a great bubble to be in. It was a great, bubble time for you, yeah.
Oh, look at, you just, it's amazing. It's amazing. You'd have to be after doing it to realise it, Christopher. You'd have to be after doing it to realise it. And, I had my upsets as well. I didn't get on well with the IABA. Some of the IABA people didn't get on well with him, and for that I missed out on 2 Olympic Games because I didn't say yes. But I had to stand up for what I felt was right. So I didn't, and I missed out on at least 2 games. So that was 1980 and 1988. And I should have been there in 1984 as well. I was the champion that year as well. But look...
Jim, crazy when you're the champion and you're not there. When you think about it. Just crazy.
Absolutely. Isn't it though? And you see, and I boxed against world champions in the Goodwill Games. I boxed against the world champion out there. I boxed against world's number 2, world's number 3. And I was able to box them. Why would I not be able to go to the Olympics and box? You know what I mean? It's just because I wasn't a yes man. I didn't say yes. If I saw something wrong, I would say there's something wrong, and I'd approach it. Because when you're with the Irish team, I was made the captain of the Irish team on several occasions, and the Goodwill Games was one of them. And that was in Moscow in 1986. We boxed in the Olympic Stadium. It was fabulous. That's the night I boxed the world champion, and I brought him to the skin of his teeth to beat me. He was an East German, and I had a fantastic contest against him. Very proud of myself, And the IABA president and all was with us that time, and I didn't get on with him, So, and as a result, he even came into me that night and he said that was a fantastic contest, and I just said, "Oh, thanks," So I didn't elaborate on it or anything like that. He knew that I wasn't a fan of his. The way, because you couldn't be, and but anyway, I paid the price for that. But for me, my pride is more important. But yeah, look, to do what I've done and to meet who I've met and to be just so happy and to have, I'm so happy now. I'm married and myself and Caroline and 4 lovely children, and it's just none of them boxes. Thanks very much.
What a person you'd have to teach them. No?
I shouldn't have watched it. Oh God! You see, they nearly tried to teach you now. To say no, that's not right. That's not right.
Won't say
no,
that.
it's no. So we yeah. So like yeah. Look at it. And it's great. And as I said, I'd never force anyone to box. I'd actually, as I said, it's always good for youngsters in sport to do a year in boxing. I think it'll crown them. But and then if people, there's people that are just fantastic boxers that just walk away from it. They actually walk away from it, and it could be absolutely fantastic, But that happens. You get that in all walks of sport, And we all know there's certain hurlers and certain footballers that walked away from it, and fantastic athletes, But yeah, look, boxing for me was the number one. It did wonderful things for me and gave me the confidence to go through life and to meet people and to converse with people and to make really good friends and to have friends forever. You have friends forever, and the memories that it brings with it as well is just it's amazing.
Unreal.
It's amazing.
And Jim, can I just ask you as well, because I'm just interested, because you mentioned the East German was really strong, and I remember, I think it was Gus you sparred with. Who would you say was the hardest boxer that you ever had to face? Is there a name that pops to your head?
Yeah, there's a couple. The hardest boxer I ever had to box was the world champion. Was a good boxer, but he wasn't the hardest one I had to box. I boxed a guy by the name of John Beckles, who was the world number 3. Who I beat him in his first contest, and he beat me in the second contest. But he was the hardest one I boxed. He hit the hardest.
Okay.
So he did.
You'd feel it, basically.
Yeah, he was. He was really strong, and but he would have been the hardest. And then in Ireland, the hardest boxer I boxed as a junior was a man by the name of Tony DeLockery, who went on to become a senior. He was from Limerick. He was very tough, never stopped coming at you, they're about people that would have been tough enough to box. Yeah, absolutely. There's no easy boxer. There's no boxer that's easy to box. They're all out to knock you out. They're all trying to knock you out. They're looking at you, but they're trying to knock you out.
They're trying to get you.
So So look at but in general, I conducted myself well, and I always prepared properly for a contest, and I never drank or I never smoked. That was a help, and I haven't done to this day. In all, it was a roller coaster, but I do it all again.
You do it all again.
100%.
And tell me, Jim, I want to ask you this because I know you've obviously boxed yourself for a long time, but I love turning it on now to watch it, but I just don't get, personally myself, I don't get the same grow, I suppose, or love for boxing. It seems like it's, I don't know, changed a bit. I don't get the same kind of, we look back at highlights and clips. If you were watching now, would you feel the same?
100%. I'd feel the very same as that. I don't actually watch it sometimes because I get so bored at it. It's not the same at all. I don't watch it. There's nothing attract me to boxing now. I mean, I look at some of these boxers now, and I think, oh my God, I don't have to mention their names.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These big, huge men, that are carrying 6 stone heavy weight that they shouldn't be carrying. You know what I'm talking about? And people like that, like world champions. I mean, oh my God, that's crazy. Just 1 second. I just want to get the plug here. 1 second now. Now we'll just get that now. But that sort of thing, I feel boxing is, if you're for a boxer, you have to be 100% fit. You know that, and I know that there's people that are getting into the ring now and professional, and there's not an ounce of fitness in them. You know what I mean?
And you think to be wear down easily if they were to play or box someone from years ago, to be wore down very easily.
Oh, sure, look at they wouldn't be able to last. They wouldn't. Do you know something? We're doing 3 3-minute rounds. That's how long you do in the ring. 3 3-minute rounds. They're the longest minutes that you'll ever pass. They're the longest minutes ever. It's like an hour. A minute is like an hour. You're waiting for the last minute. I used to always say to Bernard in the corner, Bernard said, let me know when we're into the last half minute of the round. Do you know? Because if it's any bit close, then you up the tempo a little bit then to try and win the round, just to shade the round. If you finish the round well, then it's been a close round, you might get it. So I'd always be listening out to this, and my brothers and all, I'd say to them as well to make sure to shout, and I'd always be waiting for that last half minute. Last half minutes, yeah. Next thing, yeah, you just up the tempo a little bit. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy, but it's lovely, And I was so proud when I had all my family up there for the final. Most of them was up there except Dad for the first final, and then all of them were up there for the 10 championship. Yeah, it was great. It was great. So it was, brilliant memories. Brilliant memories. So it was, Christopher. But look, I had a great life in relation to boxing. It was fantastic. All my sports that I ever did I loved it. I love sport, and and I'd encourage anybody, any youngsters, anybody, to get involved in sport or something, to keep them occupied. And there's nothing better. There's nothing better than that.
Discipline of it all is just great, you might say.
What?
The discipline of it all just is great too.
Oh, Christopher, discipline. It's just discipline. Like, it's amazing. And boxers' discipline is just so amazing. And I'm not saying that because I'm a boxer. I'm saying that because it's a fact. It's so amazing. Like, as I said, you don't see boxers boxing on the street, on pitches. You don't see that. Boxers walk away. They have the discipline to walk away, because if you did that in the ring, you'd be knocked out. If you lost your temper in the ring, your coordination would be gone all over the place, and you'd be knocked out because you'd be just walking straight onto stuff, so you don't do that.
I think it's amazing, Jim, sometimes that, like, there's so many lads that don't, including probably myself, if I'm being honest, we haven't got a clue what it's like to actually take a box or get hit. But boxers do, but, most people don't have a clue what it's like.
Christopher, I've said a few lads, the fella said, sure, it's only 3 3-minute rounds. I said, yeah, no bother. I said, come on down. I said, put on the gloves. I said, just for one round. I said, and just stay away from me. Just stay away from me. And after about 30 seconds, their hands are down by their side and their tongue is hanging out. Now, I said, and you haven't even thrown a punch. Or you haven't even got a punch. You haven't even been punched. I said, and here you're knackered. So that's exactly right. If you're fit for boxing, you're fit for any sport. Absolutely.
Did it help you GAA wise and soccer wise and stuff like that then, Jim? Did you find with the boxing training you were just flying fit for the other sports you did as well?
Oh, absolutely. I was super fit. When it comes to the soccer and the football, I was super fit, Christopher. Super fit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd say just with even because everyone always says, because we used to do it, I used to even do it for soccer or GAA. Sometimes you go up to the boxing club and even keeping your arms up like this, I said, I'd get me back to the pitch, I'll do a few runs and jog around a few cones, no problem. I'd escape it as much as I could.
Yeah, of course. See, and we all did that at time to time. We all did that, but then you get to the stage when we were, at that high level, we kind of, well, if we don't do it, we're not going to win. We have no hope of winning if you don't put the effort in. So you either did it or you kind of took the punishment. So, yeah. And either way, it was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough going.
It was tough either way.
Did you continue? Because I was thinking about this, the way some people say you choose your sport. When you were boxing for those titles and stuff, did you actually play Gaelic football and soccer all the way through that as well? Did you boxing after a while?
Did. No. I played all my sports through that, yeah.
How did you keep it all up?
Yeah, honest to God, Christopher, I played all my sports through that. Yeah, senior football, senior hurling, juvenile, all through my whole life I played all those sports. I was so active in sport, I suppose, and I never drank or I never smoked, so that helped out so much as well. And And I love doing my exercise training and stuff like that. And I was always in kind of good enough nick. I go to the gym about 5 mornings a week still, Christopher, would you believe? Now, and I do a workout, nothing like I used to do, but it keeps my mind right. It keeps my head right. Keeps that right, So it's amazing. It does. It keeps my head right and it keeps that thing right. That's very important.
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah. So, if
your head's not right, I'd say it's no point having everything else right. Especially,
for sure. For sure. 100%. You're 100% right there, Christopher. But the memories, they're just fantastic memories I have. The trips we went on and the people I was with, that made it all happen. And, you could write a book on it, and I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. My wife is on to me so often to write the book. I'd say this: write the book. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a dictaphone. I'm going to start putting things into it.
Jim, you could have a book and you could call it Yourself and Muhammad Ali, and that would be nearly enough with the book. That would be unbelievable. You could have two separate books if you wanted. You could have Muhammad Ali as one and you could have the titles the other.
Yeah, imagine, yeah. Oh, Christopher, yeah, good thinking, Christopher. Good thinking. You're sharp with anything like that. You're a Doyle, all right. Oh my God, yeah, sure, great memories.
Listen, Jim, it's been an unbelievable chat. It's been great to chat about your memories, your successes, and meeting Ali, the national titles, all of that. You should be talked about more, the national titles. I don't know how it's not, but an amazing achievement, Jim. Absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, thanks so much, Christopher. I appreciate you doing this podcast as well. Absolutely. You can put anywhere you like, there's no problem with that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're one of these salt of the earth people as well, so you couldn't be anything else. You're a Doyle from Belfield Road, so yeah. That's it.
Thanks very much, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Emerald Athlete podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to leave a review, and don't forget to check out our Instagram page, the Emerald Athlete Podcast.